But hey, you can listen to it again on the second showing on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and then search for Hot News Talk Radio. Check out the David Tulis Show. He is on YouTube, and you can watch him streaming live, and you can watch all of his previous recorded shows right there on Hot News Talk Radio on YouTube. So it makes things all that much more easy for you. So then you have a nice experience. So obsolescence, I should say. Got to get our words right. I'll have David Tulis burst in and tell me my grammar's wrong. Obsolescence is something that is to be avoided. We need to avoid obsolescence at all, by all means, by any means necessary. We should avoid obsolescence. How can we do that? Well, by not buying a phone, 3 years ago, and then sticking with that phone for 3 years. Because phones, I realize that this kind of needs some explanation. When we're talking about smartphones and tablets and laptops, they all have a unmentioned, right? Sort of an unmentioned, just understood expiration date. When you buy a smartphone, there is an expiration date, essentially. It's not like a hard-coded thing where on Monday the 21st, it's just going to stop working. It's going to like blow up in your hands. Although it might, it's not going to do that. The lithium cell might rupture and you'll have a really bad burn on your hand like those hoverboards. Chances are it's not going to happen. But there's not like a hard-coded obsolescence date where your phone is just going to stop working and suddenly you're stuck. That's not going to happen. But what is going to happen is you're going to notice your phone seems to be kind of slow. And your phone seems to not be doing all the things that it should be doing. Well, one tip to fix that actually is to restart often and early. I generally restart my phone every day, actually. Every morning when I get up, I'll restart my phone just because it tends to help out. You'd be surprised. You wouldn't think that in this day and age, restarting would solve much of anything. But for some reason, particularly on my Android phone, restarting will fix a lot of different problems, cache filling up, that sort of thing. So restarting every day is generally a pretty okay practice to take. So if you're worried about your phone being kind of slow today, try restarting. That might fix your problem, especially if you're using a third-party keyboard. But we'll get into that some other time. The idea, though, of obsolescence is something that is, I think, kind of new or maybe foreign to the older buyer. Right? Like when you buy something, you expect it. A lot of us just expect it to work until it breaks. And when it stops working the right way, it's not really broken. It's just that it's really slow and we're wondering why. Well, you might say it's planned obsolescence. Maybe there's something going on there that we don't know about. But for the most part, it's because your phone is loaded down with newer software and older hardware, and it's, not really meant to run it that well. You're supposed to, and I hate to put it in these terms, but really you're kind of supposed to buy a new phone every year. And I know that sounds daunting, and that's like, are you serious? Every year? But when you think about everything that the smartphone does, everything that it provides, all the things that it can do for you, buying a new one every year isn't really that big of a deal, especially if you're buying more budget-oriented phones like I do. And that's not saying that I'm vastly superior than you because I only buy the budget phones for myself. No, it's not like that. It's just that, I only buy the budget phones because A, I'm going to be replacing it next year. B, I'm not going to pay several $100s more for some feature that I'm probably never going to use. And C, it costs less, and I don't want to spend a bunch of money on a phone, especially because phones are kind of fragile. I am a klutz. I'll just say it outright. I am a klutz. I drop everything. I've dropped my phone here, my Moto G, about 40 mazillion times. Mazillion is not a digit. I've dropped it about 40 bajillion times. Bajillion is a number, but mazillion is not. I drop my phone so much. So I just buy the budget version and hey, presto, problem solved. And that's something else that you might want to invest in, by the way. If you've bought a smartphone, especially an iPhone, is get a case immediately. If you have an iPhone, they have glass not only on the front, but on the back. If you have an iPhone other than the 5C, it has glass on both the back and the front, which makes it cool looking, but all that much more fragile. And you really don't want to break that or crack that because A, all right, let's do the bullet points again. A, you'll look kind of silly. B, it could actually cut your hand. I've known people where that's actually happened, where the glass that shattered on the back of their phone actually cut their hand when they were holding it. And C, you could lead to other problems if you drop it. Again, you could have loss of data. Because if you have, say, important family photos on your phone and you drop it and now you've lost all those photos because you didn't back them up onto the iCloud, you could run into some problems. So be careful with your phone. Buying a case is an amazing investment. It's not just a expense; it actually is an investment because it's kind of like body armor, right, for your phone. It's like bulletproof vest for your phone. It's not going to stop everything, right? It's not going to stop a round of 50 BMG flying at several thousand FPS to break through a concrete wall and then into your chest. It's not going to stop that, but it might stop, say, 9 millimeter or 22, if you get my meaning. So it's not going to stop, it's not going to stop it from breaking if, say, you drop your phone off of a building, but it might stop it from breaking if you drop your phone, say, out of your pocket, if you're grabbing your keys and your phone comes out. By the way, never, ever, ever, and I made this mistake too, don't feel bad, but never, ever, ever store your phone in the same pocket as your keys. That might sound silly, but honestly, I've made that mistake before with my first smartphone because I was a dumb kid and I scratched up my phone bad. So don't have that happen to you. Do not, under any circumstances, put your phone in the same pocket as your keys, because that is a very bad idea. Scratch up your phone, which sometimes can actually affect the touchscreen on the phone too, make it harder to use, which is, add that to the list of things you don't want to happen on your smartphone. You don't want it to suddenly not work anymore because you stored it in the same pocket with your keys. So, just a tip from me to you, you don't want that to happen. Come on, you don't want that to happen. Touchscreens are amazingly kind of sensitive. But yeah, buying a budget smartphone is the better idea. Now, about laptops, because a lot of us have laptops still. You might not need one anymore, honestly, but say you're a student who has to type up a lot of term papers or whatever, or maybe you work in a job where you can do some writing from home, writing reports, or you work in Excel or whatever, and you notice that your computer is kind of running slow. Well, that's probably because you bought the machine or your company bought the machine, alternatively, 4 or 5 years ago. And that's kind of a long time for machines, particularly for hard drives. Now, the hardware other than the hard drive is probably fine and runs just as well as it did on day one. But hard drives are really not the only part of computers, but those are the most rapidly degrading part of computers is the hard drive. You might want to look into getting your data backed up and then replacing your hard drive with, say, a solid state drive, which is not going to degrade as quickly and slow down as much as a hard disk drive would. I know that's kind of technical, but if you take your computer to, say, Affordable Computers, they can help you out with that. They can help you find a good hard drive that'll fit in your computer. They can help you back up your data, all that sort of thing. There's lots of different data backup services that you can use. So a hard drive can be the bane of your existence. A slow hard drive can make all the difference in the world when it comes to your computing experience. You're going to want a solid state drive nowadays. Plus, they're miles cheaper than they used to be. If you ever looked at prices for them, nowadays they are on par with regular hard drives. But that's getting really technical, so we'll stray away from that a little bit. That's a tip for the more technically inclined among us. So planned obsolescence on phones, I'm not sure if it's actually a thing, planned obsolescence, but I do know that your phone can get old fast. And it feels like it gets old really fast. If your phone is, say, 2 to 3 years old, you might want to look into buying a new one. If you're fine with what you have, that's cool. But some of the newer apps are going to be optimized for the newer operating system, the newer version of, say, Android or iOS. Particularly, now this is something that happens on Apple phones a lot, iPhones, is the new version of iOS comes out. This happened a lot with iOS 7 when that came out. The new version of iOS comes out, and people are running the older phones. Like, say you're running an iPhone 4 and you're supposed to be running an iPhone 5 to get iOS 7, just as an example. But people on their iPhone 4s, they could upgrade to iOS 7. But a lot of people were noticing that it was slowing down their phones significantly, like badly. It was slowing down their phones to such a degree that they were almost unbearable to use. And that's, again, a really big problem. If we're talking about a device that you use for, say, productivity, or you use it for your job, you can't spare any time, right? Because that phone is for you for your job. That's what you use for logging entries. That's what you use for just making sure everything runs right. That's what you use for getting emails and texts. And if it starts slowing down, that can be the death of you, potentially, or the firing of you. Either way, if your job is that volatile, maybe you should consider another line of work. But you get my drift. So your phone needs to be as up to date as you can afford to make it. And there are quite a few budget tier smartphones that are really good functionally. They just cost a little bit less because some of the materials that they use are not the top of the line. Like my Moto G, and I know it sounds like I'm really shilling for Motorola. I'm not, or at least I don't mean to be. You can buy a Sony Aspire if you want to. You can buy an Asus Zenfone if you want to, right? I mean, you can do any of those. You can buy an iPhone if you want to. It's all up to you. But I tend to lean more towards the Moto Gs just because they're inexpensive. They're pretty good in terms of specs. The battery life is amazing. I tend to lean towards the Moto Gs because I have experience with Motorola and Lenovo already. But my Moto G cost me a little over $200, which, considering what I got, is amazing for the price. And because I knew I'd be buying a new one in about a year, $200 a year, that's not bad for what I get. I can take that. I can take that hit. That's not so bad. So you might want to consider buying that budget phone instead of the super expensive, although really cool smartphone, like, say, the iPhone 6 Plus, because the iPhone 6 Plus is really cool. Even I, an Android guy, will say the Apple 6 Plus is a really cool phone. But it's also, if you're off plan or off contract, especially, really expensive. You can almost buy a used car for what you would pay for some of the iPhone 6 Pluses. I mean, they're crazily expensive. We're talking about the $500 range, $600 range sometimes, which you wouldn't want to get a used car for, but you could definitely get a used car for that much. Yeah, I don't want to spend that much money. So I'll instead spend $300 less and get a phone that works just as well for me and is not overly expensive either. Yeah, and it does all the things that I need it to. So what can we do with our phones? We're going to talk about that in a second. This is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. We're here on hotnewstalkradio.com as well. Go to our website, Hot News Talk Radio, and you can listen to us streaming live there if you happen to be in the office or away from your radio. If you're AFR, away from radio, you can get us on the website. If you're AFK, if you're away from keyboard, you can get us on your phone. Go to Hot News Talk Radio on the TuneIn Radio app. Let's do this together, actually. I'm going to start on my phone here. I mean, it's already started, but I'm going to log into my phone here because I have a PIN code. All right, so I'm going to log into my phone here. I'm going to go to my app store. So currently I'm looking at a bunch of apps right now, actually. So I'm going to go Google Play. Okay, I'm going to search for TUNEIN, the TuneIn Radio app, TUNEIN, TuneIn Radio. Tap on that. Let's tap that. And now I can install it. I've actually already got it installed, so I'll just hit open. It should only take a few seconds to install. It's not a very big app either. Let me scroll down to see how big it is. It is, give me a sec, only 15 and a half megabytes. Not bad at all, especially considering what it does. So let's start the TuneIn Radio app here on our smartphone. And then let me turn my volume down so I don't get my ears blown out when it starts. Oh gosh, that could have been a bad idea. Okay, so I'll turn down the volume on my phone so I don't blow your ears out and cause a feedback loop and start having weird technical problems. We'll turn that off. Okay, so now I'm looking at Hot News Talk Radio on the TuneIn Radio app, and now I'm listening to myself streaming live, which is really distracting, so I'll turn that off. But I want to tell you kind of a secret about TuneIn that maybe the folks at TuneIn wouldn't want you to know. We're talking about some stuff they don't want you to know, to put it that way. It's a really good show, by the way. So let's say that you want to listen to the Super Bowl, which, who doesn't, right? That's some exciting stuff. I'm not even like into football. Football's not even my thing, to be quite frank with you, particularly NFL, really not my thing. But I still watch the Super Bowl. I come home, I watch the Super Bowl. I don't know why. Mostly for the halftime show, honestly, because they're usually kind of cool. Something interesting might happen. I don't know. But the Super Bowl is coming up. It's February, It's the 7th, right? February the 7th. It's coming up pretty fast. Now you're thinking, I'm not going to be at home. I can't watch it. Well, TuneIn has it on TuneIn, but you have to pay for TuneIn Premium to watch it or to listen to it. Except, hold on, it gets better. Wait, we're carrying the Super Bowl here on Hot News Talk Radio. Okay, pretty big deal. What does that have to do with you being away from your house? Well, think about this. The TuneIn Radio app, you can listen to Hot News Talk Radio, and you can listen to the NFL Super Bowl on Hot News Talk Radio on your smartphone, meaning that you don't have to pay anything extra. You can do all your work or whatever you need to do on Super Bowl Sunday and you're still listening to the Super Bowl. So there you go. Problem solved. Your life is that much easier. Now you're listening to the Super Bowl right here on Hot News Talk Radio. We are the exclusive carrier of the Super Bowl on radio, by the way, and on TuneIn. And you don't have to pay for, TuneIn Prime or whatever they're calling it, TuneIn Premium. No subscription. It's all right there. And guess what? We also have NASCAR. So when the NASCAR season starts, which is pretty soon, you can listen to all your NASCAR races right here on Hot News Talk Radio and on the TuneIn Radio app. So again, on TuneIn, it's all right there. Hot News Talk Radio on TuneIn. You don't have to pay anything extra. Maybe you have to listen to a few ads from TuneIn, but that's it. That's all you have to deal with. You can do the same thing on the website. Go to hotnewstalkradio.com. You can listen to the Super Bowl when it comes on. You can listen to the NFL, you can listen to, we are the exclusive carrier of NFL. You can also listen to NASCAR when it comes on. It's all on the website. It's all on the TuneIn Radio app. It's all on Hot News Talk Radio on TuneIn. It's an amazing experience. It's really just about the best thing ever. It's kind of, I'm so excited to have this opportunity. I'm so excited to have this opportunity to play the Super Bowl for you here on Hot News Talk Radio. It's going to be kind of amazing. Might even have a Super Bowl party. Maybe we should do that. I'll call up Keon and ask him if he wants to do a Super Bowl party. That could be actually kind of fun. Keon Rose, by the way, is our sports guy. He's on from 6 to 7 here on Hot News Talk Radio. We also have Colin Cowherd. He's on from 12 to 3 here on Hot News Talk Radio. He is one of the best national sports guys ever. I'll put it out there. Again, I'm not much of a sports guy, technology and all. I was the kid who was playing with my computer while you guys were talking about NFL. That's why I'm able to tell you about your smartphone. But Colin Cowherd, even though I'm not that into sports, he's really good. His interview with Ken Burns, really good. His interview not too long ago, he had one with Cuba Gooding Jr., really good, because I really liked Boys in the Hood. I thought it was a great movie. Really good stuff. So Colin Cowherd, his name is kind of hard to say, is really good from 12 to 3. We also have Sean Hannity, Clutch of Keon Rose, Mike Gallagher, American Now, Ground Zero, and Coast to Coast AM. It's all right here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240, and hotnewstalkradio.com as well. Do you have a chip and pin card, credit card, debit card? Do you have a phone that has an NFC chip in it? If you have an iPhone, then the answer is probably yes. If you have a newer Android phone, then again, the answer is probably yes. That means that you can actually pay with your smartphone at restaurants, at grocery stores, wherever they take credit cards mostly. You can do this with Google Wallet. You can do this with Apple Pay. It's all the same thing. It uses NFC. It's the chip inside your phone to pay money. How cool is that? You don't have to take around, you don't have to carry around your wallet with all your cards in it. Although if you're driving, you should have your driver's license on you. If you have Google Wallet, all you have to do is just tap your phone to the point of sale and suddenly you've paid money. You can actually pay money to other people with Google Wallet and with Apple Pay. All you have to do is put in the amount, tap it, and there you go. You could do the same thing with Square. Square is a great resource for small business people because it lets you take credit card charges. Now, you might want to charge the customer a little bit more to cover the costs of paying with Square because there is a bit of a fee. But this can allow you to, instead of being a cash-only business, which is fine, can allow you to also take credit cards, meaning that you can take and make payments that much easier, which makes your life as a small business person that much easier. Because the smartphone is, let's face it, not just a productivity device. It's also for your own leisure, your own convenience, right? Like that's why we have Netflix and Amazon Prime Video on our smartphones. We're watching our Netflix, man. We're watching our YouTube. We're watching our Amazon Prime Video. We're doing all that. But it's also a huge boost to our productivity. Smartphones have made me so much more productive here at the office. I do so many things on our smartphones with our computers. We couldn't do what we do if it weren't the year 2016. We couldn't. There's so much technology involved in what we're doing. It just couldn't be done. We don't realize that sometimes. We take our technology for granted. We're going to get more into finances on your phone. A few seconds right here, Hot News Talk Radio.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240. While politicians debate climate change and taking our guns, they leave America vulnerable to disaster. You need to act now to keep your family safe and prepared. Do you have an emergency plan? Do you have long-term storage food? Do you have the skills and mindset to survive a disaster? If not, what are you waiting for? Call P5 Preparedness right now, 423-602-2175. Do you honestly think the government is going to help you? If you do, you are wrong, dead wrong. Don't get caught unprepared. Let the experts at P5 Preparedness get you ready for any emergency or disaster situation. Today, we offer a wide range of classes for the beginner on how to prepare, as well as the expert prepper. We stock a wide range of supplies, including long-term storage food, water filtration, outdoor gear, tactical gear, and plate carriers. P5 Preparedness, East Brainerd Road between I-75 and Gun Barrel Road. You will see the Army Deuce and a Half truck, 423-602-2175, 1309 Panorama Drive, Chattanooga, P5Preparedness.com.
What are you going to get your sweetie for Valentine's Day? I'm going to Carter Shooting Supply.
Carter Shooting Supply?
That's right, Carter Shooting Supply. They're having a great sale on all of their guns right now, and it's name brands like Smith & Wesson, Ruger, Springfield, their AR-15s. They've got the hottest gun in the land right now, the Sky 9mm. Man, it comes in all the cool colors. If you're an Alabama fan, they've got crimson. If you're a big orange fan, they've got an orange one. You know, all the women are loving the pink one and Tiffany blue. Plus, it has a lifetime warranty replacement. If the gun is stolen, all you need is your police report or receipt, and they'll replace it free. It has a 60-day full money-back guarantee. That's Carter Shooting Supply. They're in Harrison right there at 6210 Highway 58.
Are they online?
Yes, they are. That's cartershootingsupply.com, or give them a call, 423-344-1099. Now, this sale's not going to last too long, so you need to hurry up and get there. And they do have a great indoor shooting facility. You can get your Tennessee handgun carry permit also. That's Carter Shooting Supply, 423-344-1099.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio with your Hot News Now update. 2 New Yorkers have been arrested after a morbid discovery at the Chickamauga battlefield. Dwayne Hollenbeck's body was discovered by park goers at the battlefield. Jennifer DeMont from Geneva, New York, was arrested. Robert Brooks, who's also from Geneva, New York, was arrested a few days later. They are both in the Catoosa County Jail. They've both been charged with felony murder. Apparently, they tricked Hollenbeck into going on a road trip with them. Police say they then killed him with a blunt object and then dumped his body in the battlefield. A fiery crash after a high-speed chase in Collegedale. Police attempted to stop a Mitsubishi Eclipse on Edgemond Road for going 20 miles over the speed limit. The suspect then refused to stop and led them on a chase down Lee Highway. Collegedale Police and Hamilton County Sheriff's Office deputies attempted to stop him. The suspect's car then crashed and burst into flames. The occupant was arrested. A water main break in East Brainerd left some residents pretty soggy. It'll be repaired today. If it's going on in the Tennessee Valley, it's going on Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Expect lots of sunshine out there through the afternoon. Still on the cool side, highs 48 to 50 tonight. Clear, cold and frosty again overnight, lows near 30. For the weekend, though, beautiful weather on the way, warming up too, with lots of sunshine tomorrow, highs near 62. Let Don City Ski Shop keep you and your family toasty warm all winter long with the largest selection of cold weather clothing around, as well as the area's only ski machine for that big winter trip. That's Don City, East Brainerd Road, Chattanooga. And I'm Sourcine 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Orr.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
When the weather turns bad, turn to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. On the net, hotnewstalkradio.com. Follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. From the Hot News Talk Radio Weather Center. Chattanooga, we've got you covered. When the weather turns bad, the Tennessee Valley turns to Hot News Talk Radio.
Go, 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 go.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
1:31 is the time here at Hot News Talk Radio. I'm Russell Stroud. We're talking about phones. We're talking about your tablets, your smartphones, your laptops, your desktop computers. Number to call in here is 423-800-8949. That's 423-800-8949 is the number to call in. here at Hot News Talk Radio. If you have any apps you want to talk about, you have any computer problems you want to help with, then you can call in 423-800-8949 is the number to call in here at Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240 and hotnewstalkradio.com. So Google Wallet is one of the cooler apps you can get right now. Now, it's not, secure, to put it in those terms, but let's also consider that your credit card is really not secure either. It's probably just as secure, but something to consider is that if your phone gets stolen, all your information is on it. So what can we do if our phone gets stolen? What can we do to prevent our phone from being stolen? And what can we do after our phone has been stolen? Because smartphones are a really big commodity, actually. Smartphones are an easy thing to steal. People leave them on tables. People leave them sticking out of their pockets. People leave them sticking out of their back pockets, which you should never do. Don't put your phone in your back pocket because you can accidentally forget about it, sit down, crunch. Now your phone is broken and all of your data is gone. Don't want that to happen. So what can we do to keep that from happening? What can we do to keep our phone from being stolen? And what can we do if our phone is stolen? Well, preventative measures are some of the best ones. The guys at P5 Preparedness can tell you about that. Preventative measures are some of the best measures you can take, like, say, home security, right? Home defense. Duke was talking about this on the Patriot Preparedness program, the Patriot Prepper program, I should say, which is on every Thursday from 11 to 12 here on Hot News Talk Radio, where he talks about preparedness, prepping, how we can be prepared. His show is on every weekday here from every Thursday from 11 to 12 here on Hot News Talk Radio. You should go to P5 Preparedness to make sure that you are prepared. The guys there can help you out not only with being prepared, but they can also help you plan for being prepared too, which is some of the better stuff they can do there. It's really cool, the services they offer, because it's a lot more personal experience than just going to the camping and outdoors section of Walmart and buying what you think is the right thing where you're not really sure. The guys at P5 can help you out with that. And it's a much more personal experience. So definitely check that out. It's over there on East Brainerd Road, by the way, on East Brainerd Road, right near, if you know where Brainerd Baptist is, it's sort of right across from that. So definitely check that out. It's really, really great store. They also have some aquaponics, which is really neat stuff. Aquaponics is where you can grow food in a sort of a closed circuit. It's hard to explain. So go to P5, look them up online. P5preparedness.com is also their website. You can get the address, the phone number, all that good stuff. So go to P5preparedness.com and check out all their stuff. P5 Preparedness is also on Facebook, P5. If you're wondering what the P5 stands for, you have to ask them. P5preparedness.com, and at the store, and their phone number is P5preparedness.com, and go to the website. You can find their phone number there. So there you go. I'm distracted. I've got a bunch of stuff floating in front of me is a thing. And we sort of have, we have information overload and a lot of sensory overload in a lot of regards, where I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different screens in front of me, and I have to pay attention to kind of all of them at the same time, and actually 8 if you count my phone. So I've got 8 different screens in front of me, and I need to know what's on all of them at any given moment. So it's distracting to do that and do a show at the same time. It's a skill you learn over time, and that's a skill that I've gotten kind of good at. So I'm good at knowing about what's going on around me. I also, not to brag, but I also do martial arts, which helps you be aware of what's going on around you as well when it comes to what people are doing with their hands around you. You want to know that, but not everyone can do that. So what can we do to prevent our phone from being snatched from us, right? Because I'm relatively good at knowing what people are doing around me and behind me, and I know if someone's reaching for my pocket. I generally am aware of that. But not everyone can do that. So what can we do to make sure our phone doesn't get stolen? Well, number one is, if you're sitting at a restaurant especially, do not under any circumstances set your phone on the table, because it's so easy for someone to distract you, and then ask you where a store is, and then someone else who's his partner take your phone while you're looking away. That's something that can happen and does happen a lot. Not so much here, but if you're, say, a tourist somewhere, that can happen very often. One tip, actually, that David Tulis of the David Tulis Show does is he actually puts rubber bands around his wallet, because it creates extra friction. It makes it harder to take your wallet out of your pocket, or for someone else to take your wallet out of your pocket. It's actually kind of a cool little trick there that he does, and it's pretty impressive, actually. But what can we do to keep our smartphones from being taken? Well, if you have a breast pocket, say in your jacket, put your smartphone there. That's what I nearly always do. So I'm going to notice if someone puts their hand into my breast pocket, because I just know when someone does that. I can tell. I've been not really trained, but I've sort of conditioned myself to be aware of when someone is doing that. It's just something that I do. So you can do this too. Put your phone in your breast pocket, and it's less likely that it can be taken from your person. Putting it in your pants pocket, especially if you have tighter pants, is also a good option, but not your back pocket, because you might sit on it, and that's really not something you want to have. You really don't want to sit on your smartphone. I've done it, and it's not fun. I can't even tell you how many smartphones I burned through. I am a curse. Smartphones are cursed when they are near me. I break them like nobody's business. I drop them. I sit on them. I've stepped on them before. I've actually dropped one out of a moving car, which was also really horrible because I was trying to take a photo for work, actually, and I dropped my phone. Ugh. Don't remind me of that ever again. If you call in, do not ask me about how I dropped my phone out of my car. Don't do that. Number to call in is 423-800-8949. 423-800-8949 is the number to call in. And the website is hotnewstalkradio.com. That's hotnewstalkradio.com is the website. So to keep your phone from being stolen, on the software side also, you can put a PIN code on your phone, which is about 1 million times more secure, you'd be surprised, than a fingerprint. Because I was actually talking about this earlier with Bob Biles, who was on the David Tulis show. The thing is, computers are really good at number crunching. We were talking about this. They're really good at number crunching. But when it comes to imaging, and especially image recognition, they tend to not be that great at it, actually. You'd think that computers would be amazing at it, but they're actually kind of not, surprisingly enough. So computers, while they're great at number crunching, and especially a smaller phone like, an iPhone, whatever, they're good at number crunching, but not so good at image recognition. So your fingerprint scanner is not as secure as you might think. It's just not. I've seen and read articles about people unlocking smartphones with their elbows, and it's just not secure. So don't use a fingerprint scanner on your phone. It might be pretty good, but if your phone gets stolen, the thief has really nothing to lose in trying to get into your phone. It's just a matter of time. And it's really always a matter of time. We can never be 100% secure. There is no such thing as complete security. It just does not happen. It can happen. It's, especially in the age of the internet, complete security is impossible. Being private is impossible. Security in general is just impossible. It can happen, but we can take steps to make it really hard. Right? Like a lock on your door is more of a psychological hindrance than anything. It's an inconvenience for the experienced thief. I guarantee you there's someone out there who can get into your deadbolt or your electronic lock or your safe or whatever. It's more of a deterrence than it is an actual preventative measure. It is a preventative measure, but it's not an absolute thing. A lock on a door is just a hindrance. It's just a deterrence. It's just not very good. And the same thing goes for your phone. Having a PIN code is great. It's like having a high-end lock, but it's not going to be impenetrable. Nothing is. So a PIN code is the best option, I would say anyway, is the best option for locking your phone. There's also the password in terms of like you type it out with numbers and letters. Those are more secure than PIN codes. But if you want something that's fast, a PIN code tends to be the better option. So have a PIN code, don't have a fingerprint scan. It's not secure. It's really, really not secure. Facial scans are even better because, or even worse, I should say, better in the funny sense. Facial scans are even worse because guess what? If I know who the person is who I've just stolen their smartphone from, I can print out a picture of their Facebook profile photo and then hold it up in front of the camera. It'll scan that and say, oh, there he is, and unlock. So it's not hard. It's just really not. It's simple to unlock those phones. So don't do it. Don't use the facial scan. Don't use the fingerprint scan. Do use a PIN code or a word password because those are about 4 million times more secure. Something like that. It's pretty dang secure. So in terms of apps that we can use for just our everyday lives for security, Find My iPhone is really good. You can use it to find out where your iPhone was when it was last unlocked. You can use it to ping your iPhone where it currently is. Motorola also has a similar thing. Most Android manufacturers will have a similar thing where it'll tell you what the GPS location is of the last location where it was. Photos also, by the way, Photos will have, it's built in. Any photo taken on an iPhone or on an iPad or an iPod as well will tell you where they were taken. iPhones and iPads and iPods all have GPS in them. So you can use that then to discover the location of that device where the photo was last taken. It's actually really easy. It's called EXIF data. We don't need to get into what that means, but it will tell you the last location of any photo taken. You can turn that off, but it might not be the best idea, actually, depending on if you want your phone to be found when it was stolen. So if somebody takes a photo and uploads it to your own iCloud, you can use the EXIF data to find out where that photo was last taken. So easy stuff. It's one more preventative measure you can take. It's just a good idea. So after that whole long talk about security, a Google Wallet is not the most secure thing you can have, especially if your phone gets stolen. So yeah, keep that in mind. But then again, having a credit card in general and having a chip and pin credit card or whatever is not the most secure thing. Magnetic stripe credit cards are not secure. Debit cards are not secure. There's a plethora of reasons for why that is. Smartphones in general, not secure. But Google Wallet adds to that layer of insecurity. But then again, it's just how smartphones work. If you're entering into the world of smartphones, you're entering into a world where you have to recognize that it's not going to be very secure. That's just how it is. But anyway, Google Wallet is really good for transferring funds from one person to another. Just with tapping your phones together, you can transfer money. You can transfer money from one Google account to another. Actually, if you have a Gmail account and someone else has a Gmail account, you can actually send money that way with just Google Payments. It's actually really easy. Also, by the way, PayPal has a similar thing, but I'm not sure if I recommend PayPal right now because there's actually a lawsuit going on I was told about not too long ago. So you might want to avoid that for right now. Facebook actually has a similar option. If you go to Facebook Messenger right now, you can actually tap the option for payment. So if you're in Facebook Messenger, which pretty much everyone has, right? If you have a Facebook account, you probably have Facebook Messenger. Tap the little dot symbol on the right-hand side, the little ellipses, and you'll see, if I tap on that, you'll get an option for payments, location, and transportation. And then there's different apps as well for Facebook Messenger. There's, oddly enough, memes, Talking Tom, Quiz Chat, Flipboard, cat trading cards, Disney gifts, Diddy, there's Bitmoji. It's just stuff that's relatively useless. But payments can actually be pretty useful if you're in a pinch. So I can tap that and I can send money from my account, from my debit card to someone else's bank account with that payment option. So if you're wanting to pay someone in a pinch and you happen to be friends with them on Facebook and you also happen to trust them, you can send money that way. Or maybe you just need to send money to them because they need money suddenly. You can actually do that with the Facebook Messenger. Facebook Messenger has actually kind of a lot of functions that you might not know about. It has the voice option too, where you can record a little bit of I think it's 30 seconds is your limit. You can record a 30-second audio clip to send to somebody. Say you want to know what that song is. You can do it that way. Google Play Music, if you have Google Play Music installed on your Android phone, if you hit the search bar at the top, and this is actually new, hit the search bar at the top, and it has a little option that says identify what's playing. If you tap on that, it actually starts listening. It says listening for music, and it'll actually start listening for the music that's playing in the room. And if it knows what it is, it'll actually tell you what music is playing in the room with you or on your speaker or whatever, which is great for if you're watching, say, an ad on TV and you want to know what that song is that's playing. Now you can find out. Say you want to do the same thing for a YouTube video, just hold the phone up in front of the speaker and you can do that. And it's actually, it was just listening for my voice to try to find out what that was. I guess it didn't find that audiobook I did 10 years ago. Oh, well. But yeah, you can do that to find out what music is playing in the room. You can also do that with Google Now. Tap the little microphone, it'll say listening, and it should have a little thing that'll pop up in the bottom right-hand corner that'll say, it's just a little note symbol, and you can tap that and it'll start listening for music in the room. Google Now has a ton of functionalities, by the way. If you're in a pinch, say for gas stations, you can do this. Okay, Google, where's the nearest gas station?
Here are the listings for the nearest gas station within 0.4 miles.
So it says there's a BP, here's a MAPCO, there's another BP, there's yet more gas stations, there's a Kangaroo somewhere down the road on Hamel, there's Harry's number 7, Exxon, High-Tech, Kangaroo, Shell, Murphy, all these different gas stations are in our area, and it tells me where it is. It even tells me what the gas price is, which is interesting, by the way, because there are standalone apps that'll do that. and they'll give you the directions. But interestingly enough, Google Now will do that without you having to download an extra app. There's Gas Buddy that does that for you. That'll tell you what the gas price is in the nearest location too. It'll tell you what the lowest gas price is. But interestingly enough, Google Now actually does the same thing. So with just a Google search, if you have the Google app, you can do this. You can just ask it, okay, Google, what's the lowest gas price in my area? And then it comes up with the solution. Right now, it looks like $1.49 is the lowest one. You can also just get the Gas Buddy app and do exactly the same thing with a standalone app if you don't want to get involved in the whole Google thing. But the cool thing about Gas Buddy too is that it actually tells you where that gas station is, where the lowest price is, and then you can drive to its location just by tapping on the map, and then it'll tell you right there, which makes it that much easier. So again, smartphones are one of the bigger things you can use for just convenience sake. You can replace pretty much everything in your briefcase with your phone right now. I guarantee it. Not your gun, obviously, but documents, right? You can replace your calculator, which for some reason you still have in your briefcase. You can replace your day planner that you have in your briefcase. You can replace your contacts book too, which a lot of people for some reason still have in their briefcases. Your whole briefcase can essentially be replaced with your smartphone. It just makes it super easy. Caller, you're on the air. What's up?
Hey, Russell, I was going to tell you about this app that I use. It's called iBota. It's IBOTTA. And what it does is it gives you a whole list of different headings like clothing, grocery, gas stations, etc. And it'll say what's new. And when you click on what's new, it'll give you like Walmart, Target, all the places you can buy groceries. And then you'll go into the Walmart app through iBota, and it gives you a bunch of rebates. Say there's Ragu spaghetti sauce, and you think you're going to use Ragu spaghetti sauce. You'll click on that and unlock it, and then you'll just go through the list, and everything that you think you're going to buy, you unlock it. And then once you purchase the items, you scan your receipt, and then once it finds all the rebates, you get money. I've got $28 in my account so far.
Wow, that's pretty impressive too, because that's just something you can do sort of passively. It doesn't really require that much more effort from you, and you can actually make money back doing that. So that's actually really cool. Thanks for that.
Right. And I also downloaded a Walmart app as well. You do the same thing. Just scan your receipts, and you can scan 7 per week, and I've got $50 in my Walmart. So you can save money with these apps as well.
Yeah, great. Thanks for that. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And again, the number to call in is 423-800-8949. That's 423-800-8949 if you want to call in. Is the number to call in, 423-800-8949 if you want to call into the show here at Hot News Talk Radio. And actually, that's something that people possibly don't know is a lot of different stores have apps. In fact, some local stores even have apps. If you happen to shop somewhere regularly, like say Target has an app, Walmart has an app, you can actually just use that app and save money that way. Most stores, by the way, also happen to have built-in Wi-Fi, which is something that you possibly don't know about. And Eric Judd, interestingly enough, is in the studio with us. What have you to say, Eric?
Well, Russell, one of the things I wanted to bring up is most of your businesses now are going to an app because the smartphone is so prevalent. More and more people are doing searches on their smartphone. And so if you're a business, you need an app almost to survive. And that's going to be an interesting to see what's going to happen in the future. You know, will the websites go away? I know you see some of the mobile websites are already starting to go away because people have an app, and an app for a business is very, very useful as you talk about every day. I mean, it builds loyalty for your consumers. It helps your rewards program. It gives directions to your place, tap the phone number. I mean, so an app in business today is very, very important.
Yeah, and actually, we sort of do a service with that where we'll help you out to hook you up with doing apps. And if you have an email, actually, Eric, if someone wants to do an app,
that's correct. Or they can call me, 423-521-0284. That's 423-521-0284. Give me a call. I'll help you get your app and maybe sit down and just talk with you. Not only talk to you about the radio advertising here on Hot News Talk Radio, but at the same time, maybe an app can help your business. I thank you, Russell.
Absolutely.
Great show.
Thanks. And Sky Aerial Services, by the way, if you want to look that up for drone services for your business, can help you out so much more. You can have a cool promo video made and put on YouTube to show your clients. You can have, especially in real estate, that's amazingly useful. If you happen to have a real estate business or you're looking at houses too, the listings actually might have a drone video. So you can do, instead of having to do a walk around yourself, you can actually see it in the drone video. Sky Aerial Services. There we go. That's a tough one. Got to do it like a trap song. Sky Aerial Services will do that for you. Sky Aerial Services is amazing for that because you can take a video of, say, your property if you wanted to get it sold. You can take a video of your business if you want to put that video out on YouTube, or just in your website too, or your app. Apps are the new frontier. And that's actually interesting what Eric was saying too, is it used to be the big thing was you got a website, right? Like you launched your business, you got a website. And almost you don't need to do that these days if you have an app, because the app has almost replaced the website in so many ways. Like Eric was saying, the app has replaced the website in almost every way. And most businesses nowadays, especially the big ones, have an app. Like say Amazon.com, of course, has an app. And Amazon does a cool thing with its app too, where with the Amazon app, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing this if you're wanting, of course, to support the local economy. But the Amazon app, if you're wanting to buy something and you just happen to see it in the store, you can compare the price. And Walmart also will, if you scan a barcode for something and it happens to have a cheaper price somewhere else, will compare that and then give you that price or lower. So Walmart does that for you too. But Amazon, you can actually scan an item that you happen to see in real life, and Amazon will give you prices for it on the Amazon.com app, which I actually did at Christmas. Someone got a present that I thought was really cool. I was jealous. I wanted it. So when nobody was looking, I took out the Amazon app on my phone. I scanned the barcode and hey, presto, it actually was on Amazon. I just watched it that way, or watched it. I just scanned it and I bought it on Amazon that very moment with my account. So it was actually super easy. And because I have Amazon Prime, it shipped to my door the next day, which was actually kind of weird. It was kind of a surreal experience because there I was holding it in my hands that day, the day before, and then the next day I wake up and it's at my doorstep. Really kind of weird stuff. The reason for that is, by the way, in case you're wondering, Amazon, as you probably know, has fulfillment centers all over the place. We have an Amazon fulfillment center right here in Chattanooga. Actually, it's a big source of jobs for us here. There's Volkswagen, right? And there's Amazon, which provides a lot of jobs, which is interesting. Amazon actually has a huge turnover rate for employees, which is kind of weird. Like people will get hired there, and then like the next year they're hired somewhere else, or they quit their job at Amazon. It's kind of weird. I'm not sure what the deal with that is. I know a lot of people who have worked at Amazon, but I don't know a lot of people who do work in Amazon, which is kind of weird. But anyway, like I say, so Amazon has the barcode scanning app, extremely useful, and it's built right into the Amazon app. So you can do that with your already existing Amazon app. eBay also has an app where you can quickly make listings on the Amazon app. If you scan a barcode on Amazon, it actually will generate the listing for you automatically if it happens to be an item which is already commonly listed on Amazon, or sorry, on eBay. You can actually scan the barcode on eBay app, and then it gets listed immediately with photos and everything. So it makes it that much more easy for you. Coming up next here on Hot News Talk Radio is Colin Cowherd. He's on from 12 to 3. He is the premier national sports show. We also have Sean Hannity and Clutcher Keon Rose from 6 to 7 right here. Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240, hotnewstalkradio.com.